Want to grow your church online or with social media, but feel like you can't just because maybe you're not social media savvy? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you why you don't have to be social media savvy, and I'll also show you a way that any pastor can use social media to grow their church. And I'll even leave a link below that you can use to book a call with my team if you need help implementing anything that I'm about to cover. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification. That way you don't miss out on any future videos on church growth tips for pastors. Hey, my name is Greene. I'm the founder of Impactful Pastors, and right now I'm in Santa Marta, Colombia. And on this channel, I use the knowledge I've gained from building a multiple six-figure business before the age of 30 to help pastors grow and turn their struggling church into a healthy, growing church. And with what I'm about to show you, I've helped pastors all over the US grow their church. And the best thing is that they don't have to be social media savvy. So small disclaimer, Colombia is a super noisy country, at least from my experience. And so if you hear some loud noises as I'm recording, I really apologize for that. But back when I was trying to figure out, how to grow my business and how to create a successful business, I was learning how to do everything online, right? I would watch every YouTube video I could find. I would listen to every podcast. I would read every book, basically everything on social media that I could get my hands on. I was like, I have to get it. I have to read it. I have to watch it. I have to listen to it. I have to become super obsessed with social media, and I have to become as social media savvy as possible. I just figured that was the way to go. When you listen to a lot of other people online that are content creators, they're like, you have to be social media savvy. You have to know how to do Instagram and TikTok and create reels and dance and grow a following and get subscribers and create the best content and have the highest quality. And maybe that's what you heard as well. And so that's what I was trying to do. I was heavily involved in social media, and I'm talking about since maybe 2013 till about 2019, 2020. So I spent the majority of 6-7 years learning as much as I could about social media. And here's what happened. I learned a lot about social media, but I was not able to ever really grow a successful company, right? I had companies that looked better than other people's. I had bigger followings than some other people's, but they just weren't making a lot of money. And so what I realized was, or what the frustration for me was, is, hey, I took the time, I took the years into becoming social media savvy, and it feels like this just isn't paying off. And I remember back in 2020, I was really struggling. We had moved downtown Orlando. The rent was $700 more than we were before. All my businesses had failed. My wife was only working at Dunkin' Donuts. And so we were like, we have to figure something out ASAP. And I invested in this coaching program. And once I got in there, I started linking up with entrepreneurs that were doing $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000, and not a year, a month, right? And so what was crazy was I knew more about social media than almost all of them. Hardly any of them were social media savvy. Like, they didn't know all the new tips, the tricks, the tactics, but they were still using social media as their primary way to drive business. And like I said, they were doing some of them 6 figures a month, right? And so it kind of made me think, like, wow, like, how is it that I know more about social media than them, and yet I'm broke? I haven't been able to grow a company with social media, and they know almost nothing about social media, but they're able to do more in a month than I've ever almost been able to do in a whole entire year. So what I realized is the way that they were able to do this is because they had a simple strategy that allowed them to use social media to get the results that they wanted without them having to be super social media savvy. And I have it on my notes right here, so if you see me look down, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. And basically, it was like a 4 to 5 step process, right? The first thing they would do is find their niche. The second thing they would do is DM them. They would set up a strategy call. They would offer their products or their services as a solution. And then from there, a percentage of them became members. And what they were doing is they had products that were $2, $3, $4, $5, $1,000, sometimes $10,000 or more, $20,000 or more, you name it, right? And so they didn't really need a ton of people. And so this made me think, if entrepreneurs don't need to be social media savvy to make tens of thousands of dollars per month, 6 figures a year, millions of dollars, right? Why would pastors have to be social media savvy to grow their church? And so I started reverse engineering what they were doing, and I said, hey, pastors can apply this too. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you those 3 to 4, as you can see, it's just getting kind of noisy, but what I'm going to do is I'll share with you those 4 to 5 steps. Write those down, and then after that, I'm going to break down each one. So the first thing that you want to do is find your fish. That's number 1. Number 2, DM them. Number 3, connect in person or online. And then number 4, extend the invite. And number 5 is going to be a percentage of those become new members. So let me break that down individually. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is find your fish. This is very, very, very important. And the step that you want to do even before that even is know who your fish are. Just like entrepreneurs, they have to know what niche that they're in, right? They're not just offering products and services to everybody. And so I always tell pastors that I'm first working with is, hey, when you're first starting off small, you need to have a niche, but let's call it your fish. Who are the fish that you're looking to find and that you're looking to attract? For example, if maybe you overcame drug abuse, maybe you could help other people that struggle with drug abuse because you know what that feels like and you can relate with them, right? So know who your fish are, number 1. And so the real number 1, then once you already know who those are, the first step is going to be you have to go find them, right? You can't wait for them to come to you, just like fishermen, right? They don't just sit in a boat waiting for fish to jump in. They say, what type of fish do I want to catch? And then I got to go find them and I got to actually go fish, right? And so you have to know where to find them. And so I just recommend starting on Facebook, starting on Instagram. You don't have to go crazy on all these platforms. In Facebook, you can look in Facebook groups. So there's a lot of relevant groups. People self-identify. So for me, if I'm looking for entrepreneurs in Orlando, I will look on Facebook groups for entrepreneur groups in Orlando. And then on Instagram, you can use hashtags. So I could use something like hashtag Orlando entrepreneurs. And then I could also use the location to search for a location that entrepreneurs would be hanging out, right? So the first step is you want to use Instagram and you want to use Facebook to find your fish. And again, use groups, use Instagram hashtag, Instagram locations. They're there. You just have to go find them. The second thing is you want to DM them. And so just like fishing, right? You don't wait for them to come in the boat. So now that you found them, you know the body of water that they're in, you gotta go fishing, right? And the way that you do that on social media is not waiting for them to like your comments and then see your church and then come in. You gotta actually connect with them. And the best way to do that is through the DM. So send them a message. And I know you're gonna say, hey, this is spammy, or I don't wanna do this. Trust me, this is the way that you're going to see a lot of results. And it's just like I compare it to like guys talking to women. Yes, it's gonna be spammy if you walk up and you have a corny pickup line, but if you're genuine and you know what to say, it's gonna work, right? And so same thing for DMing people, DMing your fish, right? You don't want to just send this big block of message saying, hey, I'm pastor so-and-so and I'm the pastor of this church and we're amazing and you should come. Just simply start off the relationship very, very slow. Again, if it's an entrepreneur, I might say something like, hey, John, notice that you're an entrepreneur in Orlando, would love to connect. Something simple like that. You're only looking to start the conversation. That's it, right? So find your fish and then DM them. You want to start a conversation with them. And so let me know in the comments, are you actually leveraging the DMs right now? Are you using Instagram or Facebook DMs? Let me know in the comments right now. Let me know. So now moving on, number 3, what you want to do is you want to take that conversation that you've already started and you want them to connect with you in person or online. So think about entrepreneurs, right? They find their niche, they send them a DM, and then they get them on a discovery call or a strategy call. This is so they can find out their problems, they can see what they need help with, and from there, they're selling them their products and services. But they don't just message people and say, hey, you want to buy my products and services. That's what the spammy entrepreneurs do, and it doesn't work. But the ones that have a solid process, they're getting people on a phone call first. They're building rapport and trust. So the same thing you want to do with a pastor. Instead of just saying, hey, you want to come to church like everyone else is doing, start a conversation and then learn about them. Get them to see that you actually care about them as a human being and the things that are going on in their life. And so one way that you can do that is after you have that conversation a little bit, and it doesn't have to go on forever, but then you say, hey, I would love to connect with you. If they're locally, say, hey, let's go to Starbucks, let's go to Panera Bread or another restaurant that you know. If they're farther away or if meeting is not possible, hey, I would love to chat with you a little bit more. Let's get on a Zoom call. Let's get on, a Zoom, a Skype, Facebook Messenger, something that ideally you can see their face, FaceTime, whatever that looks like, right? You want to build that rapport and you want to be able to talk to them a little bit more and learn more about them. Don't just be so, hey, come to church, come to church, come to church, come to church. Be more relationship minded. You're building relationships. And then so from there, once you've done that, number 4 is you want to extend the invite. So based on how that conversation goes, now you're going to know where you should invite them, right? Let's say if they're a man and they're struggling with their relationship. Do you have a men's group? Do you have any events for men? That's where you can invite them. Hey man, I noticed that or you said you're having a little problems with your marriage, we have a great men's group and there's a lot of other men in there. And hey, I can actually connect you with some of those guys in there. I think it'd be great for you. See, now it's a solution. It's something that's benefiting them. And instead of a lot of people think church is just benefiting you as a pastor. Hey, you want more people, you want more money, you want to feel good about yourself. Instead, flip it and say, I'm going to make relationships and then I'm going to extend the invite based on their needs, right? And so again, is there some type of life group you can invite them to, some type of event, or invite them to church, but connect them with people, right? And that takes us to number 5, which is a percentage of them will actually become members. So not everyone is going to become members, and not everyone is going to become members today. Same thing with me, right? So the pastors that I get on a call with, they don't join today, but maybe they join next month or the month after that. But you still want to keep that relationship. You don't want to just close the door. You don't want to say, oh, well, they didn't go to church, they're not serious. I've done that before, right? I say, they didn't buy, they're not serious pastor. And that's a mistake. Instead, you want to keep building that relationship, keep checking in on them, and trust me, a percentage of them will become members. And so you just have to break down your goals, right? I had a pastor that I worked with, he was like, man, there's only 2 new people that came on Sunday. And I was like, look, I know that doesn't feel like a lot, but over a year, if you do that consistently, that's over 100 new members. You know how many pastors struggle to get over 50, get over 100? So it's might seem small on a weekly basis, but compounded, it adds up, right? And so that's all you have to do, right? And this is why you don't have to be social media savvy to do this. Number 1, you have to find your fish. So you should already know who your fish are and who you want to track, and then you just use Instagram or Facebook to find them. Again, groups, or on Instagram, hashtag locations. There's a church here, they're singing, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. Number 2, send them that DM, reach out, and don't make it about church. Don't send a big block of text, don't be spammy, just start the conversation. From there, you want to take that conversation in person if possible. Meet them, talk to them, connect with them. If not, connect on Zoom, Skype, whatever that looks like. And then from there, extend the invite based on that conversation. So are you going to invite them to church? Are you going to invite them to service? Are you going to invite them to an event? Let me come in here for a minute. Where are you going to invite them based on that conversation, right? So that's what you got to think about. And then from there, a percentage of those people are going to become members. Always noisy here, but what I'll do now is I'll have my team pop over a screenshot. This is Abraham. He's a member of our coaching program, Impactful Pastors, where we personally work with pastors to see growth in their church. And we were able to take his small new church plant to now over 90 plus members, and they've only been with us about 5 months. So as you can see, you don't have to be social media savvy. And if you have this strategy and you put in the work, you will see the results. All right, so if you've watched this video and you're just like, hey, all this makes sense, but I would like some help, or you're curious to know more about how we work with pastors, like I said, there will be a link below that you can click to set up a 15 to 20 minute interview with us, where we can see what your goals are, your vision are, where you want to be in the next 3 to 6 months. And then if it ends up being a good fit for us to work together, then we can talk about next steps. And so if you're looking for help implementing anything that I talked about today, my recommendation would be to click that link, and then we can connect, we can talk with you, and we can see if we can help you get where you're trying to go. And then other than that, I hope that this video was super valuable to you guys, opened your eyes to a lot of things that you could do. Like I said, seriously, do this strategy. It will work, and you do not have to be social media savvy to do it. So if you found value in this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and see you guys on the next one.